Hi, my name is Stephanie Flint, and I am the co-creator of Infinitas Publishing, and I normally do a blog post on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Last Friday, I was going to do a blog post with a reading of Magic Stealing, Chapter 2. However, the video did not load as fast as I had expected, and then it was a lot more rambly than I wanted, so rather than trying to rush it out, I decided to redo it and then post it on Monday. However, on Monday, my phone decided to die on me, so I ended up spending a good chunk of my evening trying to get a new phone. Well, so today I shall say I am retiring my old dinosaur phone, which was awesome, but it's been trying to die for a while, and I decided I want something more reliable. So I now have a shiny new smartphone, which I am in the process of trying to figure out how to use. Anyways, so needless to say, Monday I didn't get the blog post up like I had planned. However, that means that today, Wednesday, we're trying this again. We'll see if this is up on Wednesday or not. Luckily, the reading part has already been completed. I've already gone through it, so all I have to do is get this part working. Anyways, in other exciting news, I have the second proof of magic stealing up, and this one has the map in it. So let's see if I can get this where you can see it. It has the shiny map in it. I am actually very happy with how this turned out. The ebooks will also have the shiny map edition. I'm currently in the process of proofing. You can see where I'm at right now. Reading through it just to make sure that there's no other outstanding errors that needs to be corrected. Right now, if I see anything that's just like nitpicking that's, a matter of preference, not worrying about those. So, hopefully I shall have a print edition of this ready soon, as well as the updated ebook editions. You should be able to, even if you've already gotten the ebook edition, you should be able to update them once they have updated through Kindle and Smashwords and all that. Not sure how much time that will take. We'll see when I actually upload them. In the meantime, that was it for the major announcements. So now I shall get to the reading of Magic Stealing Chapter 2, and I hope you enjoy it. Magic Stealing, Chapter 2. The city square was close. Flickering dots of lanterns and crystals lined the street, causing the whole city to shimmer like a rainbow in the night wind. Music, sharp and crisp, rose from jovial strings and drums alongside the laughing chant of villagers. The smells of roasted meats wafted from the same distance. Darnan flapped his wings twice, ascending in the night. He took a sharp turn and dove into the city. Tirana shrieked, spinning too fast into the narrow streets. She flapped her wings, frantically skimming the two-story inns at the edge of the city. At the last moment she shot past a pair of giggling teenagers who had found the private alleyway perfect for nuzzling, then erupted over the main street in a flurry of feathers. Children pointed and laughed as she struggled to maintain a lopsided hover. For the love of Shawl, why had she even bothered? Darnan positioned himself on a branch beside the tavern. Orange light spilled from the giant front window. Tirana took her seat beside him, flicking her wings and tail for balance. "You could have warned me we were landing here," she thought to him. Darnan tilted his owlish head. "If you practiced flying, you wouldn't have that problem. Besides, I got us front row seats." At least Darnan was trying, and he was right about the seating arrangements. The parade hadn't started on the actual square, so they could see it from the beginning. Tirana just preferred to enjoy the summer nights in human form, with a sword, practicing a routine she'd memorized from Bercarton, the captain of Vinya's guard. Instead, she was watching the city's most notoriously magic-based festival. When she was a child, Ifa's priest had lit the whole place with magic-revealing crystals. Ribbons shimmied all over the parade route, different colors from every type of magic. That night was when Tirana first realized that magic had a life of its own, that it danced and dove, providing entertainment to an enthusiastic, noisy crowd. But despite her schooling, she'd never been able to get a strong enough grip on her ribbons to do anything more than the basics, even while her sister and Darnan surged ahead in their studies. "There, around the corner. It's starting. See?" Darnan nudged her with his wing. She nodded. The parade festivities were led by a young man with a flaming torch that glinted off his bare chest. He beckoned to the children following him. Two young girls with daisy and purple aster tiaras on their heads. They giggled, tossing pink petals in the air. The petals fluttered like fragrant snow around the parade's observers. Boys the same age flicked silky ribbons along the edge of the path, then darted to the safety of the cobblestone road when one of the elders teased them by grabbing their shirts and arms. Supposedly, the elders could snatch the boys away to match with their own children. Both boys were too nimble to be caught. "Hey, look!" A man underneath the two owls jabbed his companion in the ribs and pointed at Tirana and Darnan. "There's that lucky owl I was telling you about." He grinned, revealing a rotting tooth and breath that smelled like spoiled rat meat. Tirana absolutely hated the instincts that came with changing. "How do you stand the smell?" she said to Darnan. He shrugged his wings. "I use the owl's natural senses. Great vision. Not so great smell, which you would know if you practiced." She flashed her wing at his face. He hooted and shuffled, but quickly regained his balance. "I'm telling you, practice. Next time you might be able to hit me with something other than the waster." "Just be glad it's not a real blade." The man's companion smiled. "See the white patch? That's Darnan. The other owl might be Lady Cavanalano." He bowed his head politely. Tirana snapped her beak. She was not a lady. Well, she was, but she didn't plan to sit around hosting entertainment when she could be training. Entertainment, at least in the fashion of court talk, was boring. The parade continued. A pair of teenagers, chosen favorites from Itha's priests and priestesses, carried a wire arch above the heads of the older newlyweds. The metal wires were tied with yellow and green ribbons, and the last of the season's flowers. After them came the acolytes, men and women casting gold shavings across the path for those carrying soft furs, which they laid in the center of the cobblestone street. As they made sure each fur overlapped, fishermen passed out salted fish, gifts from the goddess, a thanks for the continued respects paid at the altar in the center of Vinya. Those fish looked tasty. Tirana ruffled her feathers. If she did a quick little dip, she might be able to snare a bite before anyone noticed. Darnan dropped from the branch first, sending it jolting upward. Tirana cast her wings out for balance, cursing the trickster, Asana, for making scrawny branches, then tried to place where Darnan had disappeared. Surely he hadn't had the same idea. He could practically perch on the shoulder of any commoner and get a treat. They liked him. "Tirana, over here!" She started. Darnan swooped around the ceremonial arch at the center of the parade. He twirled in midair, earning applause from the crowd. What in Shoal's name was he doing? If they interrupted the parade, they'd draw the ire of Ifa on her festival day, or the attention of Tirana's father. If Lord Cavanalano recognized them, she'd hear no end of his famous "proper ladylike manners" speech over dinner. "Coming?" Darnan called. He shot straight into the air, and even the newlyweds under the arch looked up and grinned. Something tugged at her chest, urging her to follow. Play along. Enjoy the ride. Tirana shivered, but edged toward the end of the branch. The call to perform dragged at her like a rock. She needed to follow. The tingle spread through her body, refusing to be denied. She could see nothing else, nothing more than the wire arch and the drooping flowers waiting to be revived with a tribute to the goddess. She fell from the branch, plummeting past the men she'd heard earlier, then soared toward the arch. She needed to fly, to twist and turn and dive and rise, like a wave of floodwater crashing through a farmer's field. The call tore at her mind, furious and fast, and she swirled with wing feathers brushing against Darnan's feathers and the silky ribbons and the gallant flowers. The warm night lifted her to the stars. And the dance ended as abruptly as it began. Tirana fell away from the flowers and performers and landed beside Darnan on the thatched roof of a nearby spinner's cottage. Wind whistled through the eaves. She shivered. Empty, dizzy, drained. Worse, the seer who usually came to these parades watched them from below in the form of a light gray wolf. Like Darnan, he could see magic without a crystal. The corners of his lips turned to a frown on his muzzle before he returned to the newlyweds. Tirana shuffled back from the roof's edge. Old fables flitted to the edge of her mind, haunting melodies of immortals and creatures whose very power was that of magic's lure, the power to call and demand, to whisper in a person's ear and convince them, without fail, to do their bidding, like ribbons of magic dancing free from their masters, taunting her. "We should get back," she thought to Darnan. "What? Why?" He looked at her, bewildered. "I'm not supposed to be out here. If father hears about this—" "Tirana, I don't think he's going to mind. He's probably going to be happy that you actually used magic to perform. Something doesn't feel right. I felt like I was called. Tiernan shuffled to the edge of the roof, his big owl eyes reflecting the dancing lights below. I think we were. Our magic's different. What? She snapped. The owl flinched. Our magic is iridescent now, like peacock feathers from the islands. I think a god blessed us. Tirana stared at him. Magic from the gods? She was not some puppet for them to toy with. She'd heard the old stories of mortals involved in immortal dealings. Those stories never ended well for the mortals. She spun away from Darren and dropped into the balmy night. Moisture clung to her tawny feathers. Wait, Tirana! She tuned him out and kept flying. Morning would come early, and she wanted this nightmare to end sooner rather than later.